Good morning. Let's start the daily discussion topic on current affairs. The first topic that we'll take up today is related to the national security strategy. What? The national security strategy. India has finally begun the process of implementing a national security strategy. Following years of deliberation, the National Security Council Secretariat has begun gathering input from various central ministries and departments. Okay, so who is the nodal agency? Nodal agency is the National Security Council Secretariat. Okay, so it has started gathering inputs from various central ministries and departments to start implementing the National Security Council strategy. Okay, National Security Strategy. Comprehending National Security Strategy and National Security Strategy is an all-inclusive document that delineates a nation's security goals and methods. What? So security goals, what it delineates? Security goals and security methods by which they are to be realized. The National Security Strategy is a living document. So what it is? It is a living document. Means it goes on updating regularly. That is updated on regular basis to reflect evolving conditions and new threats. Because national security threat are dynamic, changing with change of time. So this also need to be changed. Okay. So that is why this is not static, that also need to be changed. So this is a very dynamic document which needs change at regular interval. The National Security Strategy scope, it covers a broad spectrum of contemporary threats and challenges. This encompasses not only antiquated dangers but also more recent contemporary military concerns. But antiquated dangers, the previous dangers, as well as contemporary military concerns that have grown in importance in linked world of today. It includes not just conventional threats like those pertaining to the military and defense industry, but also unconventional ones like information warfare, supply chain disruptions, financial and economic security, food and energy security, and environmental concern. Earlier, so threat was only security threat, but right now that technology threat like those pertaining to the military and defense industry is the earlier one. So information warfare, supply chain disruption, because we depend upon import and export, right? And financial economic security, because right now we need capital from abroad, food and energy security, and environmental concern. National Security Strategy function in India. National Security Strategy is a crucial instrument in defending the interest of the country because it offers a comprehensive assessment of India's national security environment and a plan of action to tackle the issue mentioned above. What it's aimed at? So comprehensive assessment. So it goes for a comprehensive assessment of India's national security environment and a plan of action to tackle the issues mentioned above. Okay, both way, the challenges and the way out for it. But national security strategy does India need? India needs national security strategy. In military talk, the subject of an Indian national security strategy has come up frequently, but despite numerous attempts, it has not been developed and put into action because there has not been a unified all government efforts, and the government has purposefully kept its national security goals under wrap. Government has not yet made very transparent or open. That's why this remains under cover, under wrap. Urgency in the face of intricate threats and geopolitical uncertainties. India has to create a national security strategy immediately because of the complexity of the new threats, because so many new threats have been emerging and the heightened unpredictability of the world geopolitics, because the world geopolitics is changing dramatically, quite frequently, all on a sudden. So we are to be updated as per that. Okay, India must, okay, go for that. How to keep itself updated regarding the security strategy, because it is not a single or unchangeable concept, rather it is a very dynamic and changing concept. Fine. Revision to current directives and the function of military forms. The need to update the current political direction of the armed forces has been highlighted by a former Chief General of the Army. The 2009 Operation Directives of the Defense Minister is the only political directive currently in effect for the armed forces. Experts have emphasized that a comprehensive national security strategy should be the foundation for major military reforms like the threatenization of the armed forces. It has been said that trying to implement military reforms without a defined plan is similar to not having a strategy. Nations having strategy for national security. A national security strategy is in place and is periodically updated in the majority of developed nations. Sophisticated armed forces and security system. Russia, the USA, UK have all released national security plans. A similar policy known as the Comprehensive National Security is in place in China and strongly related to its system of government. It's almost all the countries. Okay. Okay. So similar policy in force by almost all the countries, but India don't have. Okay. So strategy. So it is high time that we should plan for doing certain strategy for India. Okay, it's a need that we should go for this to keep our security threat under control. Okay, the policy makers. Role of the policy makers. The government ought to set aside money specially for cyber security, assembling a core group of cyber defenders to combat hackers with state support. The talent pool in software development in India ought to be tapped into by offering employment opportunities. State level cybersecurity capabilities program are being funded entirely by the federal funds from the government of India. Pakistan has also released a 2020 national security policy that outlines its priorities, goal for national security. If Pakistan is able to do this, so India should not lag behind, because Indian security threats are increasing. So we should think of creating our own national security strategy. Okay. So to keep the country safe and secure from the national security point of view. Okay. Exploitation, deterrence and defense, the three primary elements of any national threat fighting strategy are as follows. Important information infrastructure need to be safeguarded, and private business and individual ministries need to set up policies for truthful reporting of the security breaches, both the public and the private sector. In terms of national security, deterrence is a very complicated topic. For example, Nuclear deterrence works well because adversaries' capabilities are known, but national security strategy do not have the same information. The Indian military must first gather intelligence, assess targets, and prepare the specific instruments needed to ensure long-term national security before putting together a strong plan. The way ahead, modifying the national security strategy, the 21st century national security strategy will outline the resources that must be safeguarded as well as the characteristics of adversaries who aim to overwhelm a target country's populace through unexpected actions that confuse them. Establishing priorities in order to support various innovation and technological frontiers such as hydrogen fuel cells, seawater desalination, thorium for nuclear technology, anti-computer virus, and novel immunity boosting medications. New departments will be needed in order to meet the national security priorities. Modifying the strategy, the new national security strategy will need to develop a deterrent strategy in order to anticipate the enemy in multiple dimensions and carry out demonstrative but constrained preemptive strikes. China's security capability factor presents a new threat to India, necessitating the development of new strategies. Because China is emerging as a big threat to India because we are able to control Pakistan, but China's due to its own military capability and its financial clout and technological advancement has started putting more security threat to India. So India should be careful about this Chinese strategy and prepare itself for China. How to counter the threat from China. Okay. The next is the attempt of telco to double dip by charging both consumers and content providers is not only abusive but not undermines net neutrality. But net neutrality, the topic is about the net neutrality. To enable access to the internet, various gateways have come up in the last few decades in the form of telecom service providers, personal computers, and smartphones operating systems. However, these gateways enable and restrict access to other gateway or network. The openness of the internet is threatened. Okay, that is under discussion right now. Okay. What is net neutrality? The idea behind net neutrality is that everyone should have access to an open, equal internet, regardless of the platform, device, or application they use or the content they consume. Tim Wu, a law professor at the Columbia University, came up with a phrase. It is a general term used in debates about online freedom of expression, service competition, innovation, pricing, and internet traffic management in public policy and regulatory contexts. Hence, net neutrality guarantees that telecommunication and internet service providers shall handle all data on the internet equitably and refrain from imposing differential fees or a treatment based on the user, content, site, platform, or application. The connection provides are prohibited from taking action like restricting, throttling, or giving any content preferential speeds. Rise in the OTT, okay, services, okay, and concerns of telecom companies. Circle of revenue. For more than a decade now, telecom companies have seen revenue from traditional streams such as the voice calls and short message services come under pressure as competing OTT services are often free. Upgradation of the infrastructure at the same time, they have had to invest heavily in upgrading the infrastructure to handle increased data traffic without necessarily seeing equitable equivalent rise in the revenue. They have to update themselves, upgrade infrastructure, whether that is going to give them remunerative return or not, they have to update the infrastructure. Differential treatment, it is also the argument that OTT services are not subject to the same level of taxation and licensing fee, leading to an uneven playing fields. The demand for telecom companies demand that content providers such as Netflix, Amazon Prime, the Disney Plus Hotstar asked to share in the cost of bandwidth. They argue that streaming platforms are free riders benefiting from the infrastructure built and maintained by the telecom companies. Argument by the OTT platforms, Only the internet providers, telecom company do not own the internet, rather they provide access to it. Consumer pay the telcos for access service by purchasing data plans. The flip side, the use of OTT services has led to a surge in data consumption, a growing revenue stream for telecom companies because more and more use of the OTT platforms by the consumers need more data consumption, and more data consumption is beneficial for the telecom company because okay, net neutrality supporters believe that the internet should remain free, open, and non-discriminatory, and that this is essential. Okay, net neutrality supporters believe that the internet should remain free, open, and non-discriminatory, and that this is essential for a democratic exchange of ideas and knowledge, ethical business practices, fair competition, and ongoing innovation. If any telecom providers impose restrictions on this, then it is not right. This is a violation. That is why it is being we discuss right now that internet should be made free, and this is called the net neutrality. Internet should be neutral. Okay. With one of the CDNs, the OTT platforms already pay for the content delivery network. CDN stands for content delivery networks. To create pathway that substantially augment the capacity of the internet to deliver their content. Coexistence in different market. OTT services compete in their own market on the basis of variety and quality of content, the quality of streaming, such as support of HD or better resolution or 5.1 surround sound, ease in navigation and discovery of content, and its availability on multiple devices. The consumers pay the price for these benefits as compared to the alternatives. Similarly, in the marketplace for internet access, the consumer are free to choose the provider that offers them the highest bandwidth, data volume, and reliability at an affordable price. Those two are inherently distinct market because service from one are not substitutable for services in the other. Therefore, it is logical to maintain a separation of cost between these two markets. Telecom liberty to increase in prices. As argued by the OTT providers, telecom companies capitalize on this rising demand and the availability of the OTT content by providing connectivity to the internet and charging subscriber for it. If they fail to cover cost, telecom companies are at liberty to increase their prices, which should go towards maintaining and upgrading their infrastructure. Cost ultimately paid by consumers. If OTT platforms were to acquire to the demands of the telecom, So, the TRI regulations. In 2016, the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, the ultimate telecom regulator, ruled in favor of net neutrality. The concept that all traffic on an internet has to be treated equally. Telecom regulator TRI concluded that programs such as the free basis by Facebook, now Meta, and telecom operators plan to charge extra for data calls using apps like Viber would be prohibited, as all internet access has to be priced equally. The Patent Telecommunication in 2018 embedded the net neutrality concept into unified license, with conditions all telecom operators and internet providers are bound by. Global impact. These steps taken by TRI are noted elsewhere in the world. The body of European regulator for electronic communication and TRI adopted a joint statement for an open internet in 2018, later reaffirmed in 2020. The two organizations agreed through its memorandum of understanding cooperate in developing technological and policy initiative for the net neutrality. Many other countries have also adopted net neutrality thereafter. So India being the trustbearer. So it is imperative for all stakeholders, including policymakers, to recognize the long-term ramifications of acquiescing to the short-sighted demand of telecom companies. Upholding the principle of net neutrality is not merely about preserving the ethos of an open internet, but is also intrinsic to fostering a conducive environment for innovation, competition, and consumer welfare, especially countries such as India, where the internet is going to be the carrier of all digital public infrastructure. Then the next topic, the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs launched Jal Diwali Women for Water, Water for Women campaign. The launch in collaboration with the National Urban Livelihood Mission under the Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation Amrut Yojana. Phase 1 shall witness participation of all state Indian territory except for Chhattisgarh, Mizoram, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Telangana. Campaign aimed to provide a platform for inclusion of women in water governance by providing knowledge about water treatment processes, visit to water treatment plants, providing insight into water quality testing protocols, and ensure quality water delivery to citizens. Instilling a sense of ownership and belonging among women towards water infrastructure, role of women in water governance, responsible for collecting and managing water needs for domestic purposes like cooking, food, drinking, etc. Ensure hygiene and good sanitation conditions to prevent waterborne diseases like the cholera. Utilize their traditional knowledge about water resources, quality, reliability, and acceptable storage method. Amrit was launched by the Ministry of Urban Housing and Urban Affairs in 2015 in 500 cities and towns for developing basic infrastructure in water supply sectors, stormwater drainage, green space, and park, etc. Amrut 2.0 2021-22 to 2025-26 provides universal coverage of water supply through functional taps in all households. And Odisha has a distinction of providing ensuring that all households are connected by the tap water, okay, or piped water, drink from the tap. Fifth meeting of the Conference of Parties to the Minamata Convention on Mercury held at Geneva. The Minamata Convention on Mercury was adopted in 2013 in first globally legally binding to protect human health and environment from adverse effect of mercury. It came into effect in 2017 and India ratified in 2018. Mercury may have toxic effect on nerve system, thyroid, kidney, lungs, immunity system, eyes, skin, etc. Key decisions adopted the COP5. For the first time, the COP pushed to reduce mercury supply, sources and trade by strengthening capacities at national level and developing study on global supply, trade, production and use of mercury compounds. Implementation of projects and programs undertaken under the convention, participation of indigenous people and local communities. Limit of 15 gram kg concentration of mercury is set up as threshold for waste contaminated with mercury or mercury compounds. Amend Annex 1 of the convention to list phase out date of certain types of batteries, switches and relays, fluorescent lamp and cosmetics. Amend Annex B of the convention to mandate phase out of mercury and polyethylene production by 2025. Annex to the convention, Annex 1 contains mercury added products like battery, compact fluorescent lamps, pesticides, biocides, etc. Annex B contains manufacturing processes in which mercury or mercury compounds are used. So, example production of polyethylene using mercury catalyst. Annex C contains artisanal and small scale gold mining. Annex D contains list of point sources of emissions of mercury and mercury compounds to atmosphere. Annex E contains arbitration and conciliation procedures. Okay. The next topic is about the Food and Agri Organization FAO release date of the Food and Agriculture Report 2023. So FAO is a global body on food and agriculture of the United Agency. FAO will commit 2 consecutive SOFA events to the same theme for the first time. In 2023 report includes national level true cost accounting evaluation to discover hidden agri-food system consequences, while 2024 report will focus on in-depth targeted assessment to identify strategy to reduce them. The key findings: the global quantified SC of agri-food system are worth a host $10 trillion. Dietary SC cause disease and reduce labor productivity and are especially prevalent in high and middle income nations. Environmental HC accounts for more than 20% of quantifiable SC and accounts for nearly one-third of the agricultural value added. Okay. Okay. So environmental SC accounts for more than 20% of the quantifiable SC and accounts for nearly one-third of the agricultural value added. SC, which are projected to account for 27% of the GDP of low-income countries, are linked to poverty and malnutrition. The TAC estimation is required to measure the actual impact of complex agri-system, make responsible decisions, and increase sustainability and improve agri-system performance and resilience. Factors influencing the current operation of agri-food system include institutional policy and distribution gaps, corruption, free riding, and so on. True cost challenges include a lack of political will, opposition to change, data availability, and quality underreporting, and so on. Operational or operation all clear. Bhutan King's recall operation all clear during his recent visit to India. Thus, operation launched by the Royal Bhutan Army, which it aimed to remove rebel outfit from Assam, the United Liberation Front of Assam and National Democratic Front of Bodoland, Kamthura Liberation Organization, which were active in North Bengal. They provided logistical and medical assistance from the Indian Army because each secessionist Naxalite elements are especially operating in northeastern states and Assam have taken asylum or shelter in Bhutan. In the Balban storm, several innovations within the Marulis Archaeological Park were unveiled, with one of them being the tomb of the Balban. Ghiyasuddin Balban was a sultan of the Mamluk slave dynasty, the first of the least sultanate dynasty, ruled from Delhi between 1266 AD to 1286-87 AD. He was sold as a slave to then ruler Al-Tutmish in 1232, but later released. Balban tomb location: Marulis Archaeological Park, New Delhi. The tomb is situated within the archaeological park and was originally known as the Darul Aman, or Haven of Safety. It was a square building with spacious rooms on either side. It is considered one of the first structure in India to feature true arch construction with a keystone placed at the center. This architectural innovation allowed for even distribution of the weight of the superstructure and became a common feature in Indo-Islamic architecture in Delhi. Purpose: it offered refuge to those seeking protection from debt collectors and pursuers. Individuals who had committed murder could find solace within its wall. The Sultan could compensate the family of the victims. Historical accounts, the structure is referenced by historical figures including Ibn Battuta, who spoke of it as one of Bourbon's act of generosity. The Bharat Atta, Union Food and Consumer Affairs Ministry, flagged off 100 mobile vans for sale of wheat flour Atta under the Bharat brand from the Kartavya Path, New Delhi. For the Bharat Atta, 25 lakh metric ton of wheat at the rate of 21.50 kg have been allocated for semi-government and cooperative organization. The Kendriya Bhandar, NCCF and NAFED under the Market Operation Sales Scheme for converting to Atta and offer it for sale to the public under the Bharat Atta brand at an MRP of not exceeding more than 27 rupees 50 paisa. To be available at all physical and mobile outlets of Kendriya Bhandar, NAFED and NCCF, and will be expanded to other cooperative retail outlets in future. The launch will increase supply in the market at affordable rates and will help continued moderation of the price of this important food item. Other steps taken by the government for the welfare of the ordinary consumer. Various measures were taken in the past with regard to tomato and onion to cool off prices. The government has procured tomatoes under price stabilization fund and made it available at a highly subsidized rate to consumers. In order to check the volatility in the price of onion, the government maintained an onion buffer under the PSF, okay, Food Safety Program. Okay, so the government has imposed minimum export price of 800 a ton of onion on 28th October 2023 to check the price rise. Check the export to ban or restrict the export of onion from India to outside. The center is also providing Bharat Dal, Chana Dal at rate of 60 per kg. The Kendriya Bhandar, NAFED and NCCF to provide relief to the consumers. Prevent hoarding, stock limits have been imposed on Tur and Urad under the Essential Commodity Act 1955 till 31st December 2023. The basic duty on crude palm oil, crude soybean oil and crude sunflower oil was reduced from 2.5% to nil. The basic duty on refined soybean oil and refined sunflower oil is reduced to 17.5 from 32.5%. And the basic duty on refined palm oil is reduced from 17.5% to 12.5% on 21st December 2021 to have control over the edible oil in the country. Then this is a question. You are an experienced civil servant working in a government department responsible for infrastructure development. The department recently received a proposal from a well-known construction company to build a major highway that could generally improve connectivity in a remote region. However, you have discovered through reliable sources that the company has a history of engaging in corrupt practices and bringing government officials to secure contract. Furthermore, there are concerns about the environmental impact of the proposed highway as it passes through ecologically sensitive areas. As a public servant, you are faced with an ethical dilemma regarding whether to support or oppose the project. So, what will be the answer to this? Okay. Discuss the ethical issue involved in this case and outline the possible course of action you could take. Evaluate each course of action in terms of ethical implications and the impact on public administration. In this instance, I have to decide how to respond to a construction company's proposal given its track records of environmental violation and corruption. The plan called for the construction of a large highway that could promote development and connectivity in an isolated area, but it also means sacrificing moral standards and belief, as well as running the risk of jeopardizing the environment and the public confidence. I must therefore balance the benefit and the drawbacks of backing or opposing the project while also taking my moral and legal responsibility as a public servant into account. Ethical concern reach corruption. It is morally acceptable to back a project put forth by a business that has a track record of bringing public officials and participating in corrupt activities. Development issue. It is morally right to oppose a project that could enhance development and connectivity in a remote area. Environmental ethics. It is morally acceptable to back a project that could negatively affect the environment in ecologically sensitive area. Accountability. Whether it is morally right to downplay or hide facts regarding the company's environmental infraction and corruption. Transparency, whether it is morally right to reveal or keep quiet about the company's wrongdoings related to environmental violation and corruption. Justice, it is morally right to make sure that all parties concerned receive justice. Moral precepts that can direct public interest. It is my responsibility as a public servant to act in the people's best interest and to protect their welfare. Integrity and honesty. I have an obligation to maintain integrity in my work and behavior as a public servant. Accountability and transparency. I have a responsibility to be both as a public servant and to take responsibility for my choice and sanction. Rule of law. It is my responsibility as a public servant to uphold the rule of law and make sure that nobody is either above or below it. Sustainable development. It is my responsibility as a public servant to advance sustainable development which strike a balance between social, economic and environmental factors. Course of action. I will pursue the following option in light of these moral precepts. Support the projects given that it would provide development and connectivity to remote area in need. I could support the project. The project's advantages except its drawbacks. The company's environmental violation and corruption are unrelated to the current proposal and can be addressed independently. But doing so could go against the moral precepts of the sustainable development, accountability, honesty, integrity, and transparency. In addition, it could damage my standing and credibility as a public servant. If the company's corruption and environmental violation are made public, it could also expose me to moral and legal risk. So, oppose the project. I could object to the project on the ground that it could entail adding an unscrupulous and dishonest business that has broken environmental law. The region's biodiversity and ecology could suffer permanent harm as a result of the project. There are other approaches to enhancing regional development and connectivity without sacrificing moral standards. So I could object to the project on the ground that it could entitle adding unscrupulous and dishonest business that has broken environmental law. The region's biodiversity and ecology would suffer permanent harm as a result of the project. There are other approaches to enhancing regional development and connectivity without sacrificing moral standards. Nevertheless, doing so would go against the moral percept of the public interest. Additionally, it could draw opposition and criticism from a range of stakeholders who might support the project for political economic reasons. In addition, I could have to give a compelling argument and supporting data for rejecting the project. Look for future further details before deciding. I could look into the project in more detail. I could request a social cost benefit analysis, an independent feasibility study, an environmental impact assessment, etc. I could also seek the opinion and input of various stakeholders, including the experts, NGO, and local community on the project. I could also check with other sources to confirm the company's qualifications and performance history. But to do this would take time and resources that might not be feasible to or available. In addition, it could cause unnecessary uncertainty and confusion among different stakeholders and slow down the decision-making process. So, in light of the assessment, I could learn more about the project before deciding, since it would enable me to strike a balance between the many ethical principles and stakeholders' interests. In this situation, I believe that this could be the most morally right and sensible course of action. Additionally, it would empower me to make decisions devoid of bias or emotion and instead grounded on data and facts. It could also serve as evidence of my dedication to moral standards, the welfare of general public and ethical values. With reference to the National Agricultural Cooperative Marketing Federation of India Limited. So coming to the question, fine. So with reference to the National Agricultural Cooperative Marketing Federation of India Limited, comes to the following statement. So it is a leading Indian cooperative organization in agricultural products procurement marketing in 1958. It is registered under the Multi-State Cooperative Society Act 2002. So which of these statements above are correct? Here both 1 and 2 are correct. With reference to aquaculture, the following. The term aquaculture refers to the cultivation of aquatic organisms in controlled aquatic environment for any commercial, recreational or public purpose. Okay. So aquaculture farming and cultivation regulated by the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare. So the breeding, rearing and harvesting of plants and animals take place in all types of water environments except brackish and freshwater ecosystem. Here only one is correct. So one. Other 2 and 3 are incorrect. The following statement here, the Ulwa ballistic missile is a new American ballistic missile which recently failed in its trial. It is a 2-stage solid fuel missile. Can carry 6 multiple independent re-entry vehicles MIRVH. Here only 2 are correct. Okay. So only 1 is incorrect, but one is correct, but 2 are incorrect. Not correct at 2. Only 1 is correct, so 2 are incorrect. The famous Ambubachi Mela, okay, it is a Mela of the Tantrishism or Shaktism. D. The following site in India is currently recognized as a biosphere reserve by UNESCO but not part of the World Network of Biosphere Reserve list. It is the Seshachalam. Which of the following declaration convention is related to the road safety? Road safety is related to the Brasilia Declaration. A. With reference to the World Local Production Forum and the following statement, it is an initiative of the World Bank. Right? It aims to provide one is incorrect. It aims to provide a global platform to discuss key challenges in promoting local production and technology transfer. 1 is correct, 2 is incorrect. Incorrect is 1, 2 is correct. State of Climate Service Report. It is by the World Meteorological Organization. Give this report called the State of the Climate Service Report. Then the next question with reference to the Wolbachia in the following statement. So Wolbachia is a genus of the bacteria that is present naturally in many of the insects. Wolbachia helps to reduce dengue, Zika, and other mosquito transmitted disease. So here both statement 1 and 2 are correct, and 2 is the correct explanation of statement A also. 1 is correct. The following statement about the project PUSA is a long-range air defense system of Indian Air Force, right? It is a joint project with the DRDO and Rafale Advanced Defense System. Wrong. The system present reportedly has a single shoot kill chance of at least 80% or over 90% when two missiles are fired after each other. So 1 and 3 are correct, but 2 is incorrect. Answer is G.